During the Windows 95 and Windows 98 days, when Windows still ran on top of DOS and had it installed its own DOS under the hood and actually was running that DOS under the hood, Microsoft at the same time was developing a business line of operating system called Windows NT. Now, the NT kernel was very, very different in that it had no DOS under the hood. It was a non-DOS based kernel completely. No DOS there. Now, because there was no DOS, people still needed a command line for various things, such as some automation and some of their command line tools that they had used over time. And so Microsoft set Therese Stowell, she was one of the software engineers at Microsoft at the time, to making a DOS-like interface called the command prompt. And you can see here in these pictures, the MS-DOS ran in an MS-DOS prompt, the command prompt ran in a command prompt, and then PowerShell runs in a PowerShell window. All three of these are using the exact same host window, by the way. It's just different programs running in that host window. But this one is actually DOS, whereas this one is not DOS. And what we have here is, do I have a schematic of it here? Well, I don't, but no longer is DOS between Windows and hardware. But DOS is kind of on top of it now. It's just an application that runs on Windows. That's what Therese Stowell built. Now, one more interesting piece of information is that Windows XP, the 32-bit version, still had a DOS command.com in it. And I'm going to demonstrate that here. I've got a Windows XP 32-bit, and I'll even call up a Windows XP 64-bit. And if I click start, this is on the 32-bit version now, and I type run, and I type command.com, you'll see that I do get a command line host window here. Now let's go back to run again. This time I'll type cmd, and you'll see I get a host window. But if you look very carefully, you'll see that the command.com says Windows DOS. The cmd exe file does not say Windows DOS. So even though it was not running under the hood, Windows was not operating DOS under the hood, it was still available to us in the 32-bit version of Windows XP. Now over here on the 64-bit version, if I type command.com, you'll discover it doesn't exist. However, CMD still does, of course. So just the 32-bit, that one's kind of the one-off interesting fact you probably never knew before.